isn't it growing? Then you come to the more fundamental problem. Is that in many cases, most distribution companies still have fairly large AT&C losses. Technical and commercial losses.
Okay.
And because, if you lose 30% of your energy, electricity doesn't get charged, then obviously your cost goes up by 33%, and therefore your things become expensive, your recovery becomes less, and as a result, there is not enough financial
viability
surplus and viability.
Okay.
So with this, it also becomes difficult to attract private investors to come in.
Why are these transmission losses happening? Because of stealing of power?
Yeah, that's right. Because power is stolen, and I think the whole system is involved in the stealing, so they are not easily able to manage it. Some years ago, we started what is called APDRP, Accelerated Power Development and Reforms Program, to bring this down to less than, to 15% in 5 years. Not much progress happened. Maybe 1 or 2 percentage points came down from 40 to maybe 37, 36 or so. And one of the main ideas there was that you give you put meters at every transformer level and so on, and so know where the power is going. Now many people install meters but didn't bother to read them, for example, because they're just not terribly interested in doing these things, the state electricity board in those days. Now what has happened is that we started last year and something called APDRP2, a more reform program. And here the idea is again to have the first instance to get the power flow accounting done. So we measure, have an automatically read power meters which really tell you how much power is going in any distribution transformer, and who is charged, how much is billed from that transformer. So you know really at a transformer level where the losses are taking place. And if you know this, then it becomes somewhat really easier to find out when people are complicit in it. You can put the name on the board and so on, and create incentive structures that this thing disappear. Some states have made significant progress in reducing this. Gujarat has brought it down to less than 20%, and so on. So it can be done in many ways, but not everybody has done this. This is one of the major problems.
Okay.
Then the next problem came is with this whole idea of coal allocation business. That the coal production is not growing as fast as it should, and therefore many plants are not coming up in that sense. On the other hand, this no-go thing on coal mining has also created more uncertainty about these things. So I think this is by and large done, created problems. But nonetheless, I think one can, there is some hope. I think the capacity addition, including the private sector and so on, will be more or less, might almost reach the
second and so on.
Well, it is very difficult to say what the capacity is. Everybody gives different ideas and estimates. But, yeah.
So, but how many megawatts have been added? Roughly, how much has been added? How much needs to be added? How much comes from coal? How much from hydro? How much from?
I can't say. I'm not up to date on this. You should ask somebody else.
Okay. So these are basically the problem is in the stealing of power. Is this the biggest problem in the power sector?
That is certainly one of the most important issues in the power sector. That there is a pilferage, that there is a connivance or it's a complicity
of political,
not political, but also the staff of the state electricity board, now their distribution company.
Okay.
So I think there are some issues of that kind which is really has created this problem of people not coming out of power plants. Even then, I am told that something like 60,000 megawatts may be added during the 11th five-year plan compared to 76,000 of the
project target.
Of the target.
Okay.
But it is still, some people are very optimistic that some of the private sector plants are coming up very rapidly.
Okay.
And that you might almost reach the 70,000 megawatts. So we'll see.
Apart from pilferage, any other problems in the power sector?
I said the coal availability is considered a major problem. And because the coal, we are now importing much more coal. And for quite some time the problem was that imported coal is more expensive than domestic coal, so nobody wanted to import coal. It's coal India importing and averaging the price for everybody.
Okay. What about the hydro sector? Is that growing or?
The hydro sector is more or less very little addition. And largely because there are huge environmental issues that come up and people are objecting to it left, right and center. First, one thought that large storage dams which lead to submergence and displacement are bad. Then people went for what's called this, the run-of-the-river schemes. But the run-of-the-river schemes, the way they do it is they divert the water and bring it down in an underground tunnel 10 kilometers down. But the 10 kilometers of river stretch becomes completely dried up. So that also has a huge environmental issues about completely altering the river ecology for that period, that stretch. So people, environmentalists are also opposing that one. So the whole business of being able to do hydro plants is in a great uncertainty.
What about wind, tidal and so on?
You see, tidal, the country doesn't have much of a scope for these. Tidal and scope, I assessed some 40 years ago with a planimeter and a diagram, and I set up and say what is the storage. And it did not come to more than a few hundred megawatts in the country.
What about solar?
Wind, we have something like 45,000 megawatt potential. But you have to recognize that this potential is only for wind power, which will give you a load factor of some 17 to 18%. And therefore, even if you put 100,000 megawatt of wind power, if it's operating at only 17% time, it is no more than 20,000 megawatt of a coal-based plant operating at 80%.
Okay.
So the amount of energy you can get from wind is limited. If you look to solar, is certainly a very major source that we have, but its cost is expensive.
How much more expensive than coal is solar?
The coal cost at a coastal site or far away from the coal mines would be around 4 rupees. 4 rupees.
Per unit?
Per unit.
Okay.
Now, solar is around 15 rupees.
Oh, that expensive.
13 to 15.